What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my world. It's your boy J Law. Check this out. We got something new today. I appreciate y'all stopping by. If you want somebody to tell you a good campfire story, a good bedtime story, a good story to scare the shit out of you, period, this is the guy. For all those who may not know Elisa Lam, she is the foreigner. She's Asian descent. She's the foreigner that went on vacation. I think it was LA. Went to vacation in LA. She was a paranoid schizophrenic, and so she was on medication. Not to mention that her parents, they were extremely protective of her, and they were pretty much worried about her going out on her own, especially to another state. She was in this hotel, which, by the way, this hotel that she was in has a very, very dark past. Suicides, serial killers have stayed there, and on one occasion they did actually commit a murder in that hotel. So there's a lot of back history to that hotel where they, you know what I'm saying, you got ghosts and of course goblins. Nah, but you got ghosts and you got a lot of stories going on circling that place. And the fact that Elisa Lam actually just disappeared completely disappeared. Guests in the hotel room, guests were in the hotel room. They were complaining about an odd taste in the water, in the shower. The water's coming out black, this, that, and the other, whatever. But they sent a maintenance man up to the roof, and they discovered her body inside one of the hotel water tanks. So she was actually in there for about a couple weeks, decaying and everything else. People were actually drinking her decayed water, bathing in it. I know that's disgusting as hell, and damn, but we're about to let Mr. Ballen tell us a story, all right? So, Mr. Ballen, shout out to you, brother. I like your stuff. Let's go.
How did she manage to bypass the alarm, climb onto the water tank without the use of a ladder, open the lid, and then wriggle inside of the tank itself, and then shut the lid, and then, drown? How did that happen? Hey, what's going on, guys? Mr. Ballen here. You probably know me from TikTok. Hopefully you're starting to get to know me on YouTube as well. Today we have a really fascinating mystery. And no, I'm not going to be saying that about every single mystery I do. I think I said that about the last one, the Dyatlov case one. If you haven't seen that, go check it out.
I saw that one.
But this one really is. It's probably in the top 5 of the most fascinating unsolved mysteries on the internet. And I think the reason is because there's this video footage.
Look at this video footage, y'all.
There's really a remarkable story around that footage, and that's the story I want to tell. And that is the case of Elisa Lam. The too long didn't read version. Elisa is this young, smart, beautiful college student. She makes it to Los Angeles, and then she disappears. She was found dead in this water tank on the roof of this sketchy hotel, and there's video footage of her right before she winds up in the water tank, which is just totally bizarre. Elisa Lam was the daughter of Chinese immigrants. She was born in 1991 in Canada. She was an avid blogger. She was very into fashion. She also was dealing with some mental health issues. She had been diagnosed as having bipolar disorder. She had also been diagnosed as having depression. Even though her family initially was very close hold about detailing anything about her mental health struggles, they had never seen any suicide attempts or any suicidal ideations. On January 13th, 2013, Elisa Lam posted that she had just purchased her tickets to travel to San Diego, then on to Los Angeles, Santa Cruz, and then on to San Francisco. She was calling this her West Coast tour. So she heads off on this tour. She goes to San Diego, and then she takes an Amtrak train up to Los Angeles. And so she arrives in Los Angeles on January 26th, and she checks into this notoriously sketchy hotel called the Cecil Hotel, which is actually located right near Skid Row in LA. So it's a large homeless population, very high crime rate. And in fact, the Cecil Hotel itself, in addition to being located in a pretty seedy area, it had a fairly macabre history itself. It was actually famously associated with the Black Dahlia murder, where the victim had actually been at the bar inside the Cecil Hotel before she vanished. And then including the Black...
If anybody don't know about the Black Dahlia, that is some creepy stuff, man. I mean, just looking at the picture right now, that was some creepy stuff, man. I couldn't believe that. I mean, they literally cut her in half and man, y'all don't know the Black Dahlia story? Check it out.
Dahlia, there were 15 other non-natural deaths associated with the Cecil Hotel ever since it was built in the 1920s. And you would think that it would have been condemned, but in fact, LA has made it a landmark right now, so it's kind of protected, the hotel itself. But either way, she checks into the Cecil Hotel on January 26th, and initially she's put into a shared hostel-style room with some other tourists in the area.
This room don't look nothing like a hotel room. This room looks like it should be on a ship. Like these are bunks, man. What kind of hotel has bunks? I've never been in a hotel where you slept in a room with bunk beds. Never. What in the hell? That's ridiculous. What do you call that? A school or a dorm room or something like that.
But it would come out in the investigation that she actually had to be moved out of that room due to the complaints of her roommates that, said she was acting very odd. And so they moved her to a private room. Now, Elisa was traveling alone. And if you combine that with the fact that, she was dealing with some mental health issues, her parents were very nervous about this trip. And so they had made this deal that in order for her to do this West Coast swing on her own, that she would need to check in with them every single night. And so she was doing that. So she takes off through San Diego, she checks into Cecil Hotel, she's checking in with them every night. But on January 31st, which was the day she was supposed to check out of the Cecil Hotel, she went silent. And her parents, who were all over this, immediately were very concerned, and they called the Los Angeles Police Department. The police acted very quickly on this case. They descended on the Cecil Hotel. They started looking everywhere. They interviewed hotel staff. They interviewed local businesses. I mean, they plastered her picture everywhere, and they couldn't find her. The hotel staff, they said that, we saw Elisa, and they did mention that she had been moved from the shared room to her own room, but that any interaction she had had with staff, which there weren't that many, was she was minding her own business. She was by herself, and she seemed like a totally normal guest of the hotel. There was a business owner.
Now, aside from this, like I've said, I saw this video a long time ago, but the story and the case fascinated me so much that I actually looked it up, and I was listening, and reading more information about it. And turns out, like he said, it was located in the Skid Row of Los Angeles, which, is the slums or what I'm saying, like the bad area, so to speak. But, I'm not sure if he's going to mention it or not, but there's also part of the story goes where Lisa was always on the street. Whenever she was on the street, she was always getting approached by Hispanics and, the bums, whatever. They were always approaching her because, she was an attractive girl and she was Asian. And for those who may like the Asian girls, what I'm saying, they attract. So, and that right there would in fact be one of the theories as to how she may have, or why she may have disappeared and, met her untimely demise. Let's go.
She owned a bookstore called The Last Bookstore, kind of ironic, who saw Elisa Lam. She was one of the last people to see Elisa, and she said that she was there purchasing gifts, clearly for her family, little trinkets to kind of memorialize her trip through LA. But that was it. And so despite the massive attempts to find her, and this case had also gained quite a bit of media attention, not just in LA, but internationally. I mean, this was all the way back in China, where her family was from. I mean, this was making headlines everywhere. Despite all of that, no one could find Elisa. Then the police were given footage of Elisa in the elevator, and the police released that footage to the public, and it pretty much immediately went viral. No one can make sense of what the heck Elisa is doing in the elevator. She gets into the elevator, she proceeds to press all of the buttons, and then hides in the corner of the elevator. And then she starts poking her head in and out into the hallway as if she's looking for someone. And then eventually she kind of gets into the threshold of the elevator and starts moving her hands around kind of crazily, like she's either talking to someone or, I mean, it really looks like she's hallucinating or something. It's very bizarre hand gestures. And then she disappears. And that was the last footage we have of her alive. And what's even...
I'm gonna stop it right there. Another theory. I know for sure he's not gonna mention this one, but another theory of what was going on right there was the fact that she may have been playing the elevator game. Now, I don't know if y'all know about the elevator game, but it's one of the, I don't know how many, freaking games that people are stupid enough to play. From what I understand is you go in the elevator and the elevator has to be in a building that has more than 10 floors or more. You go in the elevator, you press all the buttons, all right? Once you press all the buttons, this apparition is supposed to come into the elevator, and you're not supposed to look at her, you're not supposed to talk to her, you're not supposed to say anything, especially don't look at her, all right? And she comes in, she asks you, what floor do you want to go on? You don't say nothing. This is the rules of the game. You don't say anything to her. Door closes, and you end up going to a floor. You end up going transported to another world, basically. And the rules of the game is you get off, you go, or you look around or whatever, and you make sure that you get back on the very same elevator that you got off of. Otherwise, it won't turn out good. All right. So that is another theory of what people may have been thinking, what was going on, with Elisa right there, the elevator game. So me personally, I'm never doing no crap like that, man. But yeah, if you want to know more about the elevator game, look it up.
Stranger is probably right after this video is taken. She goes to the rooftop by her own will, or someone made her go there, and she dies. So we're looking at the last few moments of Elisa's life. Now, the footage, despite its virality and despite how much more attention this gave the case, it didn't actually provide any big breaks, because the footage just captures this woman who seems kind of disturbed on the elevator. It doesn't give away really anything that actually happened to her. But after the release of that video, over the course of the next 2 weeks, guests of the Cecil Hotel started complaining about low water pressure, as well as a foul taste in the water. In fact, one of the guests even said that the water, when she turned it on, had come out black before clearing, and then it was clear water, but then the water had a foul taste to it. On February 19th, so this is now 2 weeks after her disappearance, and now following all of these complaints about the water, Santiago Lopez, who's a maintenance worker for the Cecil Hotel, he goes up to the roof and he goes to check on the water. He opens up the water tank to see what's going on, and there, lying in the water, is the body of Elisa Lam. So a couple things about the water tank itself. So it's on the roof of the hotel, and in order to get onto the roof, you would have to go through a door that has an alarm set. So you'd have to know the alarm code. Because if you didn't, and you triggered the alarm, I mean, it goes off across the whole hotel. I mean, someone would have heard this alarm. Or you could have, I guess, taken the fire escape, but that's a fairly obvious thing, and someone would have noticed, and no one claimed to have seen her taking, the fire escape up to the roof. Then, let's assume you've made it on the roof somehow.
Exactly. That was another theory right there. I was just about to say it, man. He brought it up. There was, in fact, a way other than of getting up to the roof, other than the way that he was mentioning about, getting through security cameras and going through, the hallway up to the roof, the roof access door. But there are actually fire escapes and ladders on the outside portion of the building that you can climb up that will take you to the roof. Now, he says nobody saw anybody, and from what I understand, nobody actually did. But the theory goes that she climbed up the ladder, went to the roof from her paranoia of whoever she may have been talking to or running from. It could have been from the game or whatever. But she went up on the roof to get away, to hide, whatever. She thought she could hide in the water tank. This is just a theory. She thought she could hide in the water tank. And she ended up falling in, couldn't get out. There's no way of getting out of there. Accidental drowning. Bottom line. That's one theory. Now, let's go.
By knowing the code to the door or using the fire escape, the tank, which is this 4-foot tall tank, is actually about 10 feet off the ground. And in order to get to the tank itself, you would need to use a ladder. And there weren't any ladders present. There's no ladders anywhere, right? But so even if you manage to climb onto the tank, without the use of a ladder, there are these heavy lids on the surface of these tanks. I mean, the hotel doesn't want people getting into the drinking water.
See, that's the opening right there. That he said there are heavy lids that are extremely hard to open with just one person, especially a female. But just occasionally, it was said that these lids were open occasionally. I'm assuming to collect rainwater or whatever. Who knows how they filled them up? That may have been the reason why one of them was opened. And so, like I said, she climbed up, got to the top of the tank somehow, and she ended up thinking that she could hide inside there. Fell inside, couldn't get out.
So it's pretty well guarded. If you could get the tank to, I think it actually slides off, the opening to the tank isn't particularly large, so you'd have to wriggle your way into the tank. And then once you're in, it would be nearly impossible to shut the tank again. And the tank was shut when they found it. When Santiago Lopez went up there, the latch to the lid was undone, but the lid was covering the tank. So how did she manage to bypass the alarm, climb onto the water tank without the use of a ladder, open the lid, and then wriggle inside of the tank itself, and then shut the lid, and then, drown? How did that happen? Because her body had decomposed significantly, it was fairly difficult to run any sort of forensic testing to see what the heck happened to her. But the coroner was able to determine that this was an accidental drowning. As improbable as that sounds, that's what the coroner's report indicated. Amateur and professional sleuths alike are fairly divided on what actually happened to Elisa. Some say that if you look at the odd behavior complaints that have been made against Elisa by her roommates that first night at the Cecil Hotel when they had to move her to her own room, people point to that as, indicative of someone who had had a sort of psychotic break. And that, the footage of her in the elevator was just someone having a manic episode. And that's what caused all of this. And there's a fairly large contingent of people who believe that. Others say Elisa just committed suicide, that even though it was a complicated suicide, it was suicide nonetheless. And of course, because this is a very high-profile, unsolved case, there are theories about this being, somehow connected to the paranormal or ghosts or any number of theory. But the bottom line is, despite knowing the who, what, where, and when, and having footage and timelines, we just don't know the why. The one thing that most people investigating this case can agree on is that...
I want to know something. When people feel like they have nothing else left to do or live for, if they may want to commit suicide, why do some choose whatever complicated would mean? What does complicated mean? Like, is it something like excruciating, something long and dragged? You know what I'm saying? They want to drag it out. Like purposely starving themselves or purposely dying of thirst. I don't necessarily understand why people would want to cause pain to themselves if they are, in fact, trying to commit suicide. Most people do it, the most painless way possible, man. They'll take pills and they'll just go to sleep and not wake up. I just never understood that. Exactly why somebody would want to drown themselves. If they are in fact trying to kill themselves, why would they want to drown themselves? Because you are actually feeling yourself die. You can't breathe, you're just fucking choking on water. I just never understood that, man. Let's go.
They really want the coroner's report to be re-examined. Not because there was negligence or something, but because there has to be something else there. This can't have just been another accidental drowning when just the circumstances surrounding her death are so bizarre, and just the likelihood of her being able to get onto the roof and up into that water tank without help is a little bit far-fetched. And so, unfortunately that hasn't happened, and for her parents, unfortunately, there's probably not going to be closure anytime soon. So that's going to do it, guys. If you haven't already, please smash like and subscribe to my channel. I'd love it if you turned on notifications as well. I'm really making a push to get more of these stories on my YouTube channel, looking to do 1 or 2 even every week. This is really my primary focus going forward, so please subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. Also, be sure to follow me on TikTok. My handle's the same as YouTube. It's Mr. Ballen. And then also on Instagram, it's John Ballen 416. Thank you all so much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Man, I told y'all, man, Mr. Ballen is great, man. He is great to me. This guy has literally, I've been bored out my mind, man. Ridiculous bored, right? And I just don't know what to do. So I looked at YouTube, TV, whatever, and I came across Mr. Ballen. And you want to know how I came across Mr. Ballen? It's because he was put into the algorithm, man. You know, how? Because people pressed like to his channel, man. They press like on his videos, they press dislike. It doesn't matter, man. If YouTube sees that a video is being liked, they're going to shop it around. If you could just press the like button, man, or dislike. You could like the video, not like the video, man. It doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Just show some kind of support. Either way. But Mr. Ballen is great, man. He really is. I enjoy his work. I enjoy his stories. Yeah, man, what he does is incredible. It's hard work because, like I've said, I've seen every single video that he has on his YouTube channel. And I'm not really a fan of TikTok, so that's probably why I never knew about him before YouTube. But TikTok, yeah, I've gone to his TikTok and I've seen some of them crazy stories too, man. And most of them, he's actually transitioned over to YouTube. And these stories are great, man. I wish I could tell a story like that. I really do, man. But it's not as easy as you think. Like, comment, subscribe, Mr. Ballen. I know he's got a ton of support already, but you can never have enough support, trust me. I'm a fan of his, and like I said, my channel is important. I want to support people. My channel is for support, man. Whether it's hip-hop, whether it's magic tricks, or storytelling, I don't care what it is. If you do it and I like it, I will support you. All right, I will support you 100%. And I keep my promise. I'm a man of my word. So people, go to Mr. Ballen's channel, like, comment, subscribe. Check out more of his stories, man. Everybody enjoys a good story. I don't care who you are. Everybody enjoys a good story. Nobody reads anymore. Everybody needs something on tape or something visual to look at, you know? So Mr. Ballen is the guy for you. Make sure y'all do that, all right? I'm glad y'all stopped by. Check this out with me, man. I really appreciate it. So tune in next time, all right? Because I'm definitely coming with some more music. And I appreciate it if y'all would stop by, leave a like to this video, and leave a like to that video too, all right? So let's do it, man. My world, your world, our world, man. Skit.